Welcome to another edition of Vigorously with me, Val Kleinhans. Please welcome streamer, host, all around alternative badass, Tasha Allen in the building. I am thrilled to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm thrilled to do this. I always love meeting other hosts, and really that's why I wanted to come together today and do this and get the story, find out all the tea. We both love all the alternative things. So where did your
Yes.
love for all the weird begin?
Honestly, I would probably say if I had to guess, would probably be around back in middle school. So I used to live, I think where you live now in Minnesota. I was born in Minnesota.
Oh,
And then,
okay.
yep. But when we were younger, me and my sisters, we moved to Georgia when I was like 8. So I didn't know anybody, didn't know how to meet anybody. So I started getting into books and in reading and in fantasy worlds. And then from there, it just kind of like branches off. It's like a tree and it's like, oh, this is cool. Oh, I do like that. And then you just start to get into the alternative stuff. um Back when Fuse was really big on TV, that's when I really started getting into it. I just always been kind of attracted to that part of life, the weirdness, the weirdos, the people who are different and not your typical everyday people. So I'd say back in middle school is kind of where it began.
Yeah, me too. It kind of started with Scooby-Doo and ghost stories, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is my clue that I that I'm kind of the outcast here. And then I would
Maybe
rather
I like
hear,
this.
yeah, like I would rather hear the lore behind things. I would rather like read about the Manson family than I would, read about something a little bit more conventional or traditional.
Right. Hmm.
So it starts there, absolutely. And for me, I mean, it's the music. There's a reason we relate to the lyrics. There's a reason that we relate to what we love. I mean, I will. My philosophy is I will listen to just about anything once. I'll give it
Okay,
once.
that's fair.
I'll give it once, but 9 times out of 10, I'm leaning more toward hip hop and metal. Really,
Right.
most of the
The
time.
only the only thing I wouldn't try once is bluegrass because I don't like it. But yes, everything else, I'm with you on that.
I
Yep.
was forced. I was for I grew up in like very close to Appalachia, so I was like really like people forget that Pittsburgh is like on West Virginia's doorstep. Like
Ah,
you could drive 30 or 30 minutes west and hit the Panhandle. So
oh
like
goodness.
people forget it kind of is in that area a little bit ish. So it did surround me a little bit bluegrass growing up, and
I'm
I
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
but it wasn't my thing. I mean, I got to try it. I got to try it, but it absolutely was not my thing. I related to the heavier stuff. I related to people who I felt were talking about things that were real, which is the hard stuff in life, the things that
Yeah.
aren't easy, not the bubble gum, everything's going to be okay, dance the night away kind of stuff. I mean, sure, we love a bop when we're in the mood, but we need more sometimes.
Exactly.
I found myself feeling that way. I would imagine that you have too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like music has a way to convey how you feel when you don't know how to put it into words yourself. And I think that's why we connect so well with like these specific artists that we really, really enjoy. It's because they're able to put our feelings into words in such an artistic way and listenable way that that's one of that. I mean, that's what I love. So yeah, I could see that.
Can you school me on sleep token? Because we're a baby Val here. We're just starting to understand
You're
vessel.
just now getting,
I
oh
know.
my goodness.
We've been sleeping. Pun
Okay.
intended.
I see what you
We,
did there. You know,
we,
it's so funny. I don't really know like all of the lore yet. I want to get more into it. I just know I started to get into Sleep Token when they came out with Sugar, which was a few years ago. I want to say 4 or 5
Mhm.
years ago or so, something like that. And immediately I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is fantastic. And then I started delving more into their discography and I was like, this is amazing. And
Yeah.
then what is it? Take Me to Eden came out, and I was just
Yes.
absolutely floored. One thing about being one of the things that I love, we'll just say, is marketing.
Mhm.
And that's in general overall. So for Sleep Token, their marketing aspect is we're anonymous. You can't see our faces. We want you to pay attention to the music and the words that we're singing. And I'm like, this is amazing. And then with this recent album drop, having the different venues show different pictures, or even having to choose between on their website, like if you chose the houses, House Viridian and the feathered host, it like sent you to two different things. It's almost like a mystery. And I love that. Like, side note, I love escape rooms. So I love puzzles. I love things like that. So for a
Yes.
band to do that, amazing. And they put on one of the best live shows that I've ever been to, where it's like no extra frills, no nothing. Vessel came on stage, did the show, and then that was that. There was no encore, no nothing. You can't meet the band. I love the mysteriousness of it. And I think if you like the mysteriousness of it and really listening to their lyrics and sitting with their music, it's just next level. Next level.
It's
But I
so
do need to get more into the Lord.
yeah, I don't know either. Like it's so mysterious, and I can't find interviews. I can't find anything. I can't find like, at least not to my knowledge. I nothing immediately got my attention as to like any clue as to who they really are, or the behind the scenes of who's really making the music and why, and have they been doing it for years and years. Are they some musician that's my theory, is that maybe they're part of other bands and they're concealing their identities and we just don't know. Who
So I
knows?
think I'm pretty sure that's the case. If there's anything you want to know, the one place that'll have all the answers for you would be Reddit. But tread lightly
Yes.
because I like having the mysteriousness of it. And I remember telling my friend one time, and I was like, oh man, I like that they're anonymous. This is great. And then he sends me a picture of who the actual singer is. And I was like, don't send me that. I don't want to know. And it's like, it's never been like confirmed, but it's enough where it's like, oh, people put clues together and figured out who the band is. But like,
Yeah,
I don't want to know. I like not knowing. That's the whole special part about it. Like,
yeah,
um, I think there's like stories online about Vessel and sleep and the whole thing and people deciphering it. Again, Allure, I haven't really delved too deep in it, but I'm pretty sure anything we want to know is gonna be on Reddit because they put everything there.
probably. It's giving Ghost in the very beginning of Ghost, before we knew who Papa was, all of that. Like it's really reminding me of that from
Yeah,
from about like 10 or so years ago. Like it's
exactly. Yes. But I know Sleep Token has been around for a while. It's so funny because one of the bands that I really love is like the Home Team and then
mm,
Issues back in the day. And it was so funny because Skylar, who's in Issues, had shared a flyer. And back then it was Issues that was the headliner. And then the openers were like Home Team and Sleep Token. And I think somebody else, like Lil Aaron or somebody, I'm not familiar, but it's just so funny because he even mentioned like today it would be totally flipped. Sleep Token has really rose in Issues,
yes.
rest in peace Issues, it's dead. And then Home Team got really big too. And that was all within like a 10-year time span. So it's cool to see like as long as you stick with it, you can persevere.
Right.
So good for them.
Absolutely. Take Me to Eden was my first introduction to Sleep Token at all. So I've been
Okay.
paying attention like a bit on and off since then. And I still have tons of questions, still have more that I want to learn. I like that they're keeping a lot of it mysterious too. And I have to wonder, and you can tell me if you agree or not, is the mystery part of the excitement and part of what all the hype is about? Is that where it stems from?
For me, it is. For me, it is because anybody can put out music. Anybody can put out great music. But I think having something that surrounds it that's just like, wow, this is interesting. Or like calling your, oh, did you hear this clue in this song? Or did you figure out the music sheet that they released? It's like that extra bit of excitement, like you guys are figuring something out. I mean, that's what it is for me for Sleep Token. It's like not only are they amazing musicians, and I just absolutely love their music, just having that little air of mystery and puzzle solving just is like cherry on top.
Okay. Keeps the
Yeah,
brain teased. That's what we love.
exactly. Exactly. So 10 out
How
of 10 for Sleep Token.
10 out of 10, the branding, the marketing, I mean, it does. It speaks to itself. It caught my attention. I was like, okay, now I want to know more. Now it's at the point where a lot of people are starting to talk about them and we're trying to get
Yeah.
more information. But so you've been into alternative things for a minute. The hosting part of the equation though, where does that come in?
Sure. So there was a point, I can't recall when it exactly started, but I've always kind of been like a personable person and I like to interview people. And I always kind of had that in my head when I was younger that I was going to work in the rock metal scene, and I was going to be a personality of some type, whether it be interviewing, the face of something. That's kind of always been like an underhand kind of goal for me. Um, I want to say I started mainly interviewing people, like street interviews, when I used to work with this battle rap company back in the day, and I would interview the battle rappers. So it's like my friend ran the company. I was like grateful that he gave me that platform to kind of work out how to talk to people and interview people on the street and things of that nature. So super grateful for that. Did that for a few years, just on and off. And then with Punk Black that I work with, again, they gave me the platform to kind of like do it do what I want to do to kind of promote these bands and things like that and be the face, because the people that run it, they hate being in front of the camera. I love them so much, but they hate being in front of the camera, and I don't mind it. I like that. So I like interviewing people and talking to people and getting to learn about new bands, new personalities and things like that. So I can't say when it officially started, but it's just kind of always been a part of me. So it's like I can't pinpoint the exact start date.
Yeah, no, me too. I was the little kid, at 7 and 8 years old, making like news reels on a
Yeah,
VHS, pretending to like do a weather report with my brother. And then
I love that.
I know, like that, and that morphed into now I want to be on the radio, and now I want to be supporting a local music scene, and now I want to be doing the rock and metal scene, and it just kind of expanded from there. But it's interesting to learn as you go on the hosting journey how many people don't want to be on camera. That was the one thing that surprised me because just like you, it was always in my head that this is very much what I wanted to be doing, so I couldn't possibly fathom somebody not wanting to do it or somebody being too shy or somebody being afraid to get up and present something. I'm like, bro, they're not going to bite. I
A
don't.
lot of people are. The social
Yes.
anxiety is crazy nowadays. And I get it. I get it. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard for me too, like interviewing people, but sometimes you just have to kind of like swallow your pride and just go for it. But I can understand the social anxiety part of it.
Me too. Me too, especially today.
Yeah,
We don't woo, you got to be careful with what you say and where you get your information from.
that
Like
part. Yep.
that like to begin with, I get it and it is a lot of pressure. I feel like sometimes just the fact that people like you and I are willing to even do it though, sometimes gives us a leg up whenever it comes to
Yeah.
different opportunities. I'm like,
Hmm.
just being willing to do it, period, like means that things open up sometimes. Have you ever found that as you've been a host?
I absolutely think so. And not even just in that aspect, but just being open to things. Like I usually 95% of the times I'm gonna say yes. Hey Tasha, you want to be on this show? Absolutely, let's do it. Like I like doing random things, and that's just me as a person. So I think that probably has allotted a lot more opportunities for myself because they know I'm dependable and I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna look good and make them look good doing it as well. So yeah.
Period. And we're going to represent the Black alternative community while we do it. I know that
Exactly.
that means the world to you. And I can't speak to the experience, but I can tell that you've been putting in the work to create something amazing, which is Punk Black. I would love to hear about how that all came together.
Sure. So I am actually not one of the creators of Punk Black. So one of the main creators, his name is Vaughn. Him and some other people had created Punk Black. And then one of my good friends, Mateo, he is one of the social media managers and coordinators for everything as well. I went to school with Mateo about 18 years ago. So
Okay.
we've stayed in contact forever. And back then, he was in a band as well. And that's another thing that we connected on back then is like being Black people and liking rock music. It was not to say that it wasn't as accepted. No, it wasn't as accepted as it is today. So it was almost like unique if you were a Black person that listened to rock or was in a band, and he was in a band, and like we stayed in contact. And I want to say the reason Punk Black exists is because of Afropunk. I think Vaughn saw the Afropunk documentary and decided to create Punk Black. And
Mm.
there is the Punk Black, or I'm sorry, there is the Afropunk festival that kind of happens every year. But I think realizing after a certain amount of time, it was leaning more towards neo soul alternative versus heavy metal, punk. Like there's such an
Alabama
array.
Shakes.
yeah, like there's such an array of so much more Black and POC acts that would never get booked on an Afro punk stage. And that's where Punk Black comes in. They put on for the underserved communities, um, all the Black and POC bands and groups, and not cookie cutter type music. It's like in your face kind of music. And I'm just so happy to be a part of them as well, because that's always kind of been my thing, being a Black person that listens to rock and alternative music. It, like I said, it was very rare that you saw anybody like that, especially growing up in high school, college, things like that. They're like, you listen to rock? Oh, you're a white girl. And
Yeah.
that was one of the,
Oh, okay. I'm like, because
you get that.
that's part of the equation that I'm not going to understand. But you can explain
Yeah.
that. You can
Oh,
explain,
yeah.
because
Oh,
to me it wouldn't make a difference. I wouldn't care, but I don't have the same experience. So I was wondering, why would that ever be something that was questioned? Why would that ever be something that was kind of looked at as a little bit sus? Like that's what I'm feeling. Correct me if I'm wrong, that the community might view it as, but
that's what
I
people view rock music as.
generally, yes. So from that angle, I get it. From that angle, I get it. And I was like, but the Black experience it's different. It's almost like just as much criticism, if not more.
Right. So we definitely get criticized a lot more. Anything Black people do, it's under a microscope. So when you do step out and be a little bit different, a little bit more alternative, a little bit more rockish, things like that, people are always going to look at you sideways. It's a lot more accepted than it is it's a lot more accepted now than what it was when I was growing up, and I'm sure even
Mm,
more so when I was younger. But it's crazy. It's because like Black people created rock music, created punk music, and then like there's a lot of erasure there, and then the history kind of rewrites itself where people think like, oh, it's a white person thing. Oh, you're white. You're an Oreo. You get called all sorts of names under the fucking book. If anything, we got tougher skin than most because people like us were bullied in high school, middle school, and even not even bullied. Some may have been talked about, whatever, just because you're a little bit different. And it's so stupid. So I'm glad I'm a part of a company that helps it make it more accessible and let people know, especially people who look like me, that it's okay to listen to this kind of music. It's okay to be in this kind of music. It's okay to be in bands. And I love
yeah.
that there's more and more bands every day that are rising up that are in the Black and POC community and spaces that are pushing their music out there and getting big. Like Sleep Theory, they blew up like crazy. Hugh, a lot of my friends are in great bands and they're Black. Jason from Fever 333, like seeing those people on those stages just makes it feel all okay. And I feel like Punk Black is definitely helping push that agenda as well.
Yeah, just awareness is the thing that seems to be helping. Like I remember a couple interviews ago, I was just in general listening to some of my favorites, Diamond from Tetrarch being one of them, and she spoke to her experience and said a lot of the same things that you have just said, where she felt very alienated. She felt like there just wasn't enough awareness around the fact that there is a Black alternative community, period. Like
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
she struggled to find others like her. And
It was few and far between, I will say that.
even for her, even for her.
Yeah.
And now I have to wonder, is the scene growing, or is the awareness improving? What would you say?
Yeah, it's definitely growing. It's definitely improving. I think day by day, um, the word is getting out there a lot more. I think companies like Punk Black, Afro Punk, things of that nature, where we promote these bands year round, not just during Black History Month, like some other labels and companies do.
Right.
Um, really try to put on for these places. Like Punk Black, we do shows all throughout the year, all the time, where you could find your local band, um, big band, small band, whatever. Find your new favorite band because you're making these spaces for people to attend to. So it's like almost word of mouth as well. So word of mouth and the internet. I know there's like pros and cons with the internet. People love the internet, people hate the internet, but the internet is a very beneficial tool because it's easier to promote these bands and experiences and activations and things like that versus back when it was just word of mouth. So I definitely think the community is growing and we're able to find each other that's in our community a lot more accessibly than we were before.
Yeah, I feel like I'd imagine it eliminates the challenge of physical distance when it comes to
Yeah,
getting the word out, and that's the biggest benefit of all. I mean,
exactly.
even for me, like I feel that in everything I do online, just day to day, like it is nice to know that, okay, I'm not living in my hometown anymore, but I'm able to connect with almost anybody anywhere, regardless.
Yeah.
Like I might have felt like, okay, I mean, I live in Rochester, Minnesota, which is like an hour outside Minneapolis. This is Laura Ingalls Wilder. We brought the covered wagon. Like
Okay.
it is that rural. That's what we're dealing with here. And I don't mind it because I like the calmer pace, and it's not a huge city. Mayo Clinic is the biggest thing here. It's a giant hospital, and there's enough to do, but if I wanted that little extra, if I want to go to like a show, I probably have to go to Minneapolis. So sometimes
Yeah.
I can feel living here like I'm not finding other metalheads like me, or I'm not finding other people, even content creators, if you want to take that angle. There's not a lot of other people in the city doing it. Like,
Yeah, I could see that there.
just period. And I didn't know what it would be like before I got here. I wasn't sure because I think we have access to most things, most anywhere anymore. But it's interesting to see how, even though I'm doing this in what you could argue is an isolated environment, I still feel like I'm finding my audience. And I still feel like I have a long way to go, but it doesn't
Hmm.
feel impossible anymore. And that's like
Right.
a huge relief.
Because of the internet, it's a great
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah. Huge. So do you feel like the Black alternative community is now finally getting the recognition it deserves, or do we need more?
I think we always need more. I think again, it's gotten a lot better than when I was growing up. It keeps expanding day by day. But I think more recognition can't be a bad thing. I think it's deserved all across the board. It shouldn't, when you think of rock music, you shouldn't think of one race. It should be everyone. Um, and I think Black and POCs could benefit from a lot more recognition, be put on a lot more shows. Like if you're an artist and you notice the disparaging differences,
Yeah.
throw a lesser known band on your tour with you so they can get some of the promotion and help each other out. But yeah, they could definitely get more recognition for sure.
If nothing
Or the
else, it means
community.
right. If nothing else, it means expanding your own audience. I would imagine
Exactly.
if
Yep.
you're getting exposed to different audiences, it's like fishing a pond that you haven't been to before,
Yeah.
without having to go to the same one multiple times, multiple times, multiple times, where sometimes it can feel like that. I would
Yeah.
imagine as a band, yeah, as a content creator, I know it definitely feels like that, where sometimes you end up in the same algorithms, you end up in the same hashtag pool, whatever, and it's just like, oh, okay, same people. It's like, hey, but it would be nice to meet new people from time to time. Were you
Exactly.
able were you able to meet new people at the Women of TikTok event? That had to be fun. I just saw
I
that.
did. Yeah, I met a cool handful of people. I love these kind of like influencer events. They're a lot of fun. It can be kind of unnerving at times because you're like, I don't know anyone, but luckily my friend had went. We had went together. But it was a fun event. It's just a chill TikTok event. They had a few speakers from sports, women's sports that were like announcers
Mm.
and actual players. I don't watch sports, so unfortunately, I wasn't really too familiar with who they were. But I still think it's very important. I think it's smart, and I think TikTok is great for creating an event to celebrate the women of TikTok and moving forward, and how you get and just providing this space where you can network with other women because it's so funny because influencers you feel like some influencers you're like, oh, that's unattainable, I can never do that, I can never be
Right.
invited to things like that. And it's like, no, you can, you really can. It's not that hard. Just post that video, do that thing, do your passion, and just don't give up and just keep going for it. And then when you network at these events, you just never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to end up collaborating with. So it's just all in fun. It's all a good time.
I try and tell myself that too, but I'm definitely a little bit introverted in that area because I'm
Oh
just like
yeah.
like sometimes nonverbal cues are hard enough for me to read, and then
Uh-huh.
when I'm in the actual setting, I'm like, oh God, now I got to suss out everybody and like, are they cool with this? Are they not cool with this? Is it cool if I'm here interrupting someone? Is it not okay? Like it can
Right.
be a little bit overwhelming, but like for the reasons that you just stated, it's absolutely, I think, still worth it to go to those events because you don't know who you could meet. You don't know if you could end up connecting with anybody. And I've been to some events where it just wasn't my room too. I felt that
Ah,
way.
okay.
I have felt that. I don't know if you've been through that, but I have been to some places where I was just like, "Ooh, this isn't a vibe. This is not. Mm-mm. It's
Like
just
I
isn't."
don't belong here.
Yeah, you can almost pick up on that immediately. Like,
Yeah.
so do you still think as a content creator that going to these types of events is still worth it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because again, you never know who you're going to meet. It's good to show face. And especially for people who are throwing these events, they want to see that you're showing up to these events so you can keep getting invited to these events because you never know when you're going to be an asset to them as much as they are an asset to you. I wouldn't, as long as I'm in town and it's like a fun event like that, sign me up. And a lot of times
Yeah.
they have free food and free drinks. So if it's free,
Yeah.
it's for me. I'm there.
Period.
but but it's just always a good time and it's almost like a token of like, wow, Tasha, you did it. I remember going to my
Mm.
first Hot Topic event when I was one of their ambassadors or a part of their like fanatic program. They had
Mhm.
an event at San Diego Comic Con and that was my very first like RSVP, influencers only, you have to be a part of this. And I was just so proud of myself. Like, oh my God, I really did it. So that feeling never goes away. It really doesn't. I'm just like, I'm grateful for every opportunity that I get. And content creation is not my full time job. I do it for fun. So I feel like I can go to these events a lot more lighthearted than other people can because
Mm.
they might be forcing networking, forcing friendships, forcing relationships because it's a part of their paycheck and stuff. I do this for fun. So if I go, I'm gonna have a good time. Like it just is what it is.
No, I feel you. Let's go. You got to get it where you can.
hmm
I hope to do more of that. And it really only takes knowing one person to get
Yep.
invited. For anybody listening that's wondering how to do it, 9 times out of 10, that's all it is. You
Yep.
find one person that you might have that in common with, and they go, "Oh, I'm going. You should go too." And ta-da! That's it.
Hey,
It's not as hard, I think, as some people might make it out to be. And then that's sort of what ends up getting the ball rolling. When it comes to content or anything in general that you're excited about, what's next?
so what's next is I will be hosting and interviewing at the next or at two of the Punk Black shows we have coming out. It's called the Free Tour, so they're going on tour, doing a couple of dates. It is free to go. So if you have been wanting to go to a show and seeing what the Punk Black community is all about, this would be the time. It's absolutely free to enter. I believe most of the shows are all ages. You can get a taste of all of the bands, but I'll be hosting in Chicago and Minneapolis, waiting on the confirmation of Minneapolis. But if it is, you should go.
Minnesota, let's
Minneapolis,
go. We got Minnesota here.
exactly. So I'll be hosting Chicago and Minneapolis next month. Um, and that's the only recent things that I know of right now. Other than that, just continuing promoting on Punk Black for the weekly five, where that's my kind of show that I do every Wednesday that promotes five bands you need to add to your playlist. And that's it so far. If anything, I'm still on the drawing board of how I'm going to play out the rest of the year, but those are the two things that I'm most excited for right now.
I can't wait to see it all. It sounds amazing. The awareness is important. Let's go. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for spending some time with me. Thank you for sharing a little bit about your journey. Thank you so much, Tasha.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.